Colavito.
A catcher once described what it felt like to receive a throw from Rocky Colavito. If he short-hopped you, all you could hope to do was stop it because you were not going to catch it. It would come in like a ball on a billiard table, hitting your shin guards, then your chest and your lips. Who was this player that catchers feared catching for? That legendary arm was just the beginning. Players called him names reserved for superheroes. But something happened that made Cleveland burn his general manager in effigy. Today, you will hear what players really said about Rocky Colavito. A curse, 4 home runs in one night, and a truth that still hurts 64 years later. Before Rocky Colavito became a legend, he was just another minor leaguer. But his roommate, Herb Score, noticed something extraordinary. Score, who would become one of baseball's greatest strikeout pitchers, revealed years later what happened before games. Rocky had the strongest arm of anyone in the Cleveland farm system, and that included the pitchers. In the minors, the players would make bets before the game. Then we would make sure the manager was in the clubhouse so he could not watch. Rocky would stand at home plate and try to throw a ball over the center field wall on a fly. He could do it. 400 feet. I saw it myself several times. 400 feet from flat ground as a position player. Indians manager Joe Gordon grew curious about how hard Colavito could actually throw. One day, he asked catcher J.W. Porter a simple question. "How fast is he?" Porter replied immediately. "Faster than anybody." Gordon pressed further. "Faster than Score or Duran?" He was comparing Rocky to Herb Score, the strikeout king, and Ryan Duran, who threw 100 miles per hour. Porter did not hesitate. "Faster than anybody." The story seemed impossible until fans saw it themselves. Rich Rollins, a future Major League third baseman, grew up in Cleveland. He remembered sitting in the stands as a child when someone hit a double down the right field line. Rocky chased the ball into the corner, picked it up, and threw it toward third base. The ball sailed 50 feet over the third baseman's head and landed halfway up the stands, right near where Rollins was sitting. Fans came to see the arm as much as the bat. Catchers had their own perspective. Bill Bryan said Rocky always liked to warm up with catchers because he liked to show his arm off. Doc Edwards explained what receiving those throws felt like. The ball did not arc like normal throws. It came straight, like a ball on a billiard table, hitting shin guards first, then chest, then lips in sequence. Manager Joe Gordon believed something else. As a pitcher, Rocky could have been a 20-game winner. The Indians were too scared he would get hurt on the mound, so they never let him pitch regularly. But in 1968, the world would finally see what Gordon meant. But that arm was just one piece of what made Rocky Colavito unforgettable. Nev Chandler grew up in Cleveland during the late 1950s. Years later, he became a broadcaster. But back then, he was just another kid who loved baseball. As a kid, my favorite player was Rocky. Just about all the kids loved Rocky. We played a lot of pickup baseball back then. All the kids imitated Rocky's batting stance. The routine became iconic. Rocky would kneel in the on-deck circle like a prayer. He would lift the bat over his head and place it behind his shoulders. Stretch left, stretch right. Then he would meticulously adjust his cap so it sat just right above his eyes. As he stepped into the batter's box, he would point the bat directly at the pitcher, like aiming a rifle. Rocky later explained this was simply a tension release and timing device. But kids did not care why. They cared that it was cool. Cleveland sandlots filled with little versions of Rocky Colavito. Every kid did the routine. Parents recognized it instantly. That is my boy doing the Rocky. Terry Pluto, who would later write a book about Colavito, observed something essential. He was everything a ball player should be. Best of all, he had a nickname. Baseball fans love nicknames, especially when they fit. But Rocky's impact went beyond style. Fans would jump to their feet for his throws from the outfield. This was unusual. Outfielders rarely got standing ovations for defense. but people paid to see Rocky throw. What is Rocky hitting became the most common question in Cleveland. In 1959, the Indians nearly relocated to another city. General manager Gabe Paul later admitted the truth. We needed Colavito to save the franchise. Rocky's popularity kept baseball in Cleveland. But popularity can be dangerous, especially when a man named Frank Lane arrives. And then came the night that proved everything. June 10th, 1959, Baltimore. Rocky Colavito was struggling. He had gone 4 for 32 in his last 8 games. But tonight felt different. He was already 3 for 3 with 3 home runs. Despite this, Rocky felt off, not confident. He sat on the dugout steps next to his roommate, Herb Score, watching his next at-bat approach. Score turned to him. "All right, Roomie, go up there and hit number 4. Rocky looked at him in disbelief. "Are you kidding? I will be happy if I get a single." This was genuine doubt. Rocky had just hit 3 home runs in 1 game, but he truly did not believe he could hit a 4th. When you are hot, you can hit anything. When you are cold, even a pitch down the middle looks impossible. Despite 3 home runs, Rocky felt cold. Score cursed at him. "Just go do it." Rocky could not argue with Herb Score. They had been roommates since the minor leagues. Score knew him better than anyone. The first pitch came high and inside, backing Rocky off the plate. He shrugged off any predictions about where the next pitch would be. He focused only on seeing the ball and hitting it. Connection. The ball disappeared into the Baltimore night. Rocky became only the 8th player in history to hit 4 home runs in 1 game. But here is what matters most. Score knew. His roommate knew Rocky better than Rocky knew himself. Other players noticed something else. Rocky did not celebrate. He jogged around the bases quietly. He tipped his cap multiple times, showing humility. This was not arrogance despite legendary ability. Years later, Leon Wagner played alongside Rocky and said something simple. "He is one of the nicest guys I have met." Superstars were often distant, aloof. Rocky was different. He signed autographs for hours after every game. He remembered being a kid in New York when Joe DiMaggio signed for him. He never forgot how that felt. But being nice does not protect you from betrayal. 10 months later, everything changed. April 17th, 1960, Memphis. An exhibition game before opening day. Rocky stood on first base after hitting into a force out. Manager Joe Gordon walked out of the dugout in the middle of the game. "Rocky, that is the last time you will bat in a Cleveland uniform. You have been traded to Detroit for Harvey Quinn. Good luck." "Same to you." Rocky was removed from the game immediately. He had to tell his shocked teammates himself. That night, he flew back to Cleveland with his now former teammates for the season opener with his new team. Years later, Rocky admitted what he could not say then. "I was in total shock and very disappointed. I had to fly that night with my now ex-teammates to Cleveland. It was a little awkward." Frank Lane, the Indians' general manager known as Trader Lane, had an explanation. "I have just traded hamburger for steak. We have added 50 singles and taken away 50 strikeouts. I will probably make Bobby Soxers mad at me, but they have been mad at me before." He was dismissive of fan attachment. He compared statistics. 42 home runs for 42 doubles. Lane thought he was a genius. In his first season, he had made 31 trades involving 76 players. Terry Pluto, a Cleveland sports writer, responded years later, "Where do you begin to shovel through this pile of public relations nonsense?" The fans did not shout. They did not protest. They simply stopped coming. Attendance dropped 550,000 fans in 1 year, from 1.4 million to 850,000. It kept falling. By 1964, only 653,000 fans came to games. That was less than Cleveland Browns football attendance. Cleveland Stadium earned a new nickname, the Mistake on the Lake. 4 hours after the trade was announced, Russwood Park in Memphis, where Rocky had played his last game as an Indian, burned to the ground. Coincidence? Fans called it a curse. Harvey Kuhn was gone after 1 year. The Indians did not finish within 11 games of first place for 34 years. Meanwhile, Rocky thrived in Detroit. 1961 brought career highs: 45 home runs, 140 runs batted in. Playing alongside Al Kaline and Norm Cash, the Tigers almost won the pennant. Cleveland? Only darkness. 64 years later, Rocky said something haunting. To this day, I do not understand it, nor do the Cleveland fans who still send me letters about it. Some wounds never heal. 5 years in the wilderness. By 1964, Cleveland hit rock bottom. Only 653,000 fans attended games all season. The team discussed relocation again. General manager Gabe Paul knew what had to be done. We needed Colavito to save the franchise. They reacquired Rocky from Kansas City, but the cost was steep. Tommy John and Tommy Agee went to the Chicago White Sox. Tommy John would win 286 more games, mostly without Cleveland. Even in rescue, the curse continued. April 21, 1965, opening day. 44,335 fans packed Municipal Stadium. Banners hung everywhere. Welcome back, Rocky. Rocky remembered it clearly. The return to Cleveland was a fantastic day, a beautiful day. The fans went bananas. They brought banners that hung from the stands saying things like, "Welcome back, Rocky." There were standing ovations, and it was very, very heartwarming. Frank Lane was even there. He gave Rocky a fruit basket, making light of a dismissive comment he had made years earlier. It was awkward, but fans appreciated the gesture. The game was tied 1-1 in the 6th inning. Rocky came to bat. Connection. The ball traveled 400 feet into the left field stands. Sports writer Bob Sudik described it. Rocky's 2-run homer shook the ballpark like it has not been shaken in years. As the ball landed in the left field stands, Rocky jogged around the bases. Down from the stands swept the mammoth roar. When the inning ended, he burst out of the dugout in his customary headlong dash for his right field position. The entire crowd joined in a standing ovation that made the hair stand on end on the necks of the most cynical members of the audience. Leon Wagner, a new teammate, hit home runs that day too. After the game, he said, "I almost would feel bad about hitting those home runs if Rocky does not get one too. He is one of the nicest guys I have met. Now I understand why all the fans here like him so well and wanted him back." Rocky spoke quietly after the game. "I have thought about this day for a long time. What made everything perfect was that we won. I will always remember this game." This was not just sports, this was a city healing. Cleveland got their hero back. But there was one more act to this story. August 25, 1968. The New York Yankees were desperate. Multiple doubleheaders had exhausted the bullpen. A 19-inning game had just finished the day before. Now, in the first game of another doubleheader, the Detroit Tigers led 5-0 in the 4th inning. Manager Ralph Houck signaled to right field. Rocky Colavito ran in from the bullpen. The crowd of over 30,000 roared. Andy Cosco, playing right field for the Yankees, watched in amazement. I was wondering how hard he could really throw, and if the hitters could get around on him. It was a treat. It was very exciting. The first batter Rocky faced was Al Kaline, his former Detroit teammate. Kaline grounded out. Willie Horton flew out. The inning continued. Rocky threw mostly fastballs down the middle. Jake Gibbs, the Yankees catcher, explained his approach. "I called mostly fastballs because he had pretty good velocity. I was not trying to hit any corners with him. I was hoping they would pop up or ground out or something like that." Dick Tracewski came to bat. Rocky struck him out on a called 3rd strike, his first strikeout as a pitcher. Al Kaline doubled the next inning, the first hit allowed, but Rocky kept throwing. 2 2/3 innings, 55 pitches, 0 runs. Then the Yankees rallied. Rocky scored the winning run himself. When the game ended 6-5, Rocky Colavito was credited with the win as a pitcher. His career pitching statistics became absurd. 0.00 earned run average, 5 2/3 innings total, 1 win. Last position player to win a game as pitcher until the year 2000. After the game, a reporter asked Yankees general manager Lee MacPhail if manager Houck had guts for putting Colavito in. MacPhail smiled. No, for taking him out. Joe Gordon had been right all those years ago. Rocky could have been a 20-game winner, but baseball lost that version of him. The arm that could do everything, did everything once. So when players were asked about Rocky Colavito, what did they really say? They did not just talk about the arm that threw 400 feet. They did not just mention the 4 home runs in one night. Leon Wagner said he was one of the nicest guys he ever met. Terry Pluto wrote that he was everything a ball player should be. Players talked about the hours signing autographs, the humility after legendary moments, how he jumped into the stands to protect his family. In 2010, Rocky did an interview. When asked how he wanted to be remembered, his voice cracked with emotion. People might think I would say it would be hitting 45 homers with 140 runs batted in one season, or some nonsense like that. But I hope people will say that Rocky was a heck of a nice guy and a good human being. Doc Edwards once feared catching Rocky's throws, but Cleveland fans learned the real fear was losing him. That was the actual curse. Not superstition. Truth. Frank Lane never understood. You do not trade the heartbeat of a city. Rocky Colavito passed away in December 2024 at 91 years old. Cleveland fans still write letters 64 years after the trade. Some wounds become identity. But his legacy is not the curse. It is the arm that defied physics, the routine that inspired a generation, and the humility that elevated talent. Cleveland caught Rocky Colavito once. They held on for 64 years. They never let go.